The Atlanta Braves are now 1-1 in games this season where they've given up 4 home runs to one player after tonight's 19-4 obliteration by the Philadelphia Phillies. Let's talk about it.
This is the Braves Postcast, your instant game reaction for the Atlanta Braves. Part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
Yes, welcome on into the Braves Postcast, part of Locked On Sports Atlanta, where we cover your Atlanta sports teams each and every day. I'm your host, Lindsay Crosby, author of the Braves Today newsletter over at bravestoday.com. You can follow me on social media at Crosby Baseball. Jake Mastriani is back in the country. He'll be back on the show tomorrow for game 2 of the series. But game 1 was interesting. A lot to talk about there. 19-4 victory by the Philadelphia Phillies. A lot of stuff in there. Atlanta gives up literally so many home runs. I'm having trouble counting here. I think it's 7 home runs they give up. Atlanta gives up 7 home runs in this game, but 4 of them to Kyle Schwarber. This is the first season in Major League Baseball history where a player has hit 4 home runs in a game 3 times. Twice, Atlanta was on the wrong end of that. And the Braves are only 1-1 in those games, believe it or not. Eugenio Suarez, then of the Arizona Diamondbacks, did this earlier in the year, and Atlanta won the game. But the big, it's like we're going to talk about the offense, the first inning where they did stuff, the rest of the game where they didn't. We're going to talk about all of that. But I think the big takeaway here is sometime between when this show went live 2 minutes and 15 seconds ago and when the show ends, I'm expecting the notification that Cal Quantrill has been designated for assignment. Nightmare start for Cal Quantrill. You see why he was released by the Marlins. 9 hits, 9 runs, no walks, no strikeouts. Atlanta didn't get their first strikeout of the game until like the 5th inning. And Cal Quantrill was, in every sense of the word, awful. There was nothing redeeming about this outing. He didn't give them length. He didn't give them quality. I'm kind of the opinion that you should have just made him go back out there, right? You pulled him after 3 and 53 pitches. So Austin Cox had to come in and pitch 3+ innings. He gave up a couple homers himself. He'll probably get sent back down. But Cal Quantrill, there's zero reason Cal Quantrill should still be on this roster by the time I finish this show. Never mind tomorrow, right? Now, obviously, the Braves have to make not only a 26-man roster move, but also a 40-man move to add Chris Sale on Saturday. So it's very, very likely that Chris Sale gets Cal Quantrill's spot, both in the rotation and on the 40-man roster and the 26-man roster. But Austin Cox is probably going to get sent back down as well. And if that happens, you don't have a ton of options to come back up, right? You don't have a ton of options to come up and reinforce your bullpen because you have to wait 15 days when you get sent down to AAA before you can come back up in case of injury. So Atlanta got a short start from their starter tonight. He got obliterated. Austin Cox threw 68 pitches. Really should have thrown one more. But, Cox is not going to be available. But you can't bring up Dane Dunning. You can't bring up, there's so many guys you just can't bring up from AAA. And you've got Bryce Elder tomorrow. As the chat's pointing out to me, which, I had that tab open, I was aware, but you have Bryce Elder going tomorrow, and he's been one of 2 possible scenarios, right? He's been that guy that can surprise you with 6 innings of 2-run ball, or more likely, he's going to give up 6 or 7 runs in the first 3 innings, and it's going to be another short start. So, I'm really curious to see what happens tomorrow. What also is tough for Atlanta from a pitching perspective is they don't have their best reliever, Luke Williams. He's on the injured list. We saw Vidal Brujan had to come in the game today. He pitched an inning and a third. I can't remember the last time a position player went multiple innings. But an inning and a third, 2 hits, 1 run, 1 walk. And so, yeah, it's going to be fun here. I really think this may finally be the thing that gets Hayden Harris a chance to come up to the majors, right? J.R. Ritchie has more than doubled his pitch count from last year. He came back from Tommy John mid-year last year. He's probably not going to get called up. Blake Burkhalter has been moved from starting to relief to manage his workload, not because of quality. He's a really good pitcher, but because of quality. You're legitimately in a scenario where you don't have a ton of options, right? Connor Siebold pitched a couple innings. You got Roddy Munoz. You've got Nathan Wiles. He's probably the guy they called up. You got Hayden Harris. You absolutely could do, you're probably going to see multiple moves. And again, they need to be made after the game. Let everybody know this is not okay. I see a bunch of folks asking for Luke Jackson. He's in Seattle's minor league system right now. He's not a member of the Atlanta Braves. They signed him to a minor league contract last week, I believe. Yeah, they signed him last week after he was designated for assignment by the Tigers in early August. I'm also seeing people ask about Tyler Matzik as well. At this point, I'd take either one of those guys over taking Cal Quantrill again. If you're curious, Tyler Matzik's with the Cardinals right now. He's in their minor leagues on the injured list. So kind of an option as well. But you're kind of in that situation where you don't really have a lot of options here. How are we feeling about the idea of pitching to Kyle Schwarber when he already had 4 home runs? I was honestly surprised they pitched to him when he had 3. I didn't think they were going to pitch to him to get the 4th home run. And they absolutely did. Philly worked some at-bats to get him back to come for one more at-bat to try to get the 5th home run, and he popped it up. But the wins and losses don't matter, right? That's not important. It doesn't matter. If you give up another home run to Kyle Schwarber for him to have 5, it's the history, but it doesn't matter. Sam in the chat, I kind of agree with this. I would have walked him after the second one. I find it really hard to think about, hey, this guy's taken us deep 3 times. Let me go ahead and pitch to him for a 4th at-bat. But Atlanta did. It's not the first time this year they've done that, right? Eugenio Suarez got 4 home runs on Atlanta too. So really, really rough day for the pitching. Just did not look good at all in any context. Even Vidal Brujan moving from shortstop to pitcher. He's no Luke Williams. In just a second, let's talk about the offense because it looked really good early and then kind of went away. We'll break that down next right here on the Braves Postcast. There's nothing like catching a baseball game live. The energy, the crowd, the chance to see Cal Quantrill pass out souvenirs and what might be his final ever start in the majors. But actually getting tickets, that's the tough part. Queues, login screens, surprise fees, kind of takes all the fun out of it. And that's why I use Game Time. It's the app that gives the advantage back to fans. Game Time is fast, easy, and backed by the Game Time guarantee. You'll always get 100% authentic tickets delivered on time and at the best price. Plus, all fees are included, so the price you see is the price you pay. I personally like knowing the total up front with no surprise fees at checkout. That lets me know exactly how much money in my budget I have left for adult beverages to drown out the memory of Cal Quantrill just getting obliterated by the Philadelphia Phillies. So download the Game Time app, create an account, use code LOCKEDONMLB for $20 off your first purchase. Again, promo code LOCKEDONMLB for $20 off. Swipe, tap, ticket, and go. Download Game Time today. Today's episode is also brought to you by our friends at Upside. Are you still paying full price for gas? Stop leaving money behind. Get real cash back every time you fill up with the free Upside app. Simply download the free Upside app in the App Store or Google Play right now and start earning cash at the pump today. Use our limited time promo code SEASON and get an extra 25 cents back per gallon on your first fill up. You could make up to $300 a year just from buying the gas you already needed. First, I thought it was too good to be true, but it's totally legit. We're getting paid just to make our daily commutes. Even our preferred Friday night pizza restaurant is on there as well. So we're getting money for gas and the pizza that we bought while we were out getting gas. You can cash out anytime to your bank account, PayPal, or an e-gift card for Amazon or a ton of other brands. So don't let this offer drive on by. Download the free Upside app now using our limited time promo code SEASON for a limited time 25 cent per gallon bonus. That's promo code SEASON. Now, offers vary by user and location. Go to upside.com for terms and conditions. Okay, on the offensive side here, Atlanta loses 19-4. They have 6 hits. 3 of those hits come in the first inning. Jurickson Profar leads off with a single. After Matt Olson walks, Ronald Acuna Jr. pops out to first base. Kind of frustrating. He got an elevated fastball on a 2-2 count, probably like chest high, and just was barely underneath it. Little frustrating at bat there. Drake Baldwin gets a single, so bases are loaded at that point. Ozzie Albies works a walk. The only walk more surprising than an Ozzie Albies walk is a Michael Harris walk. But Ozzie Albies works a walk to score a run. Michael Harris scores to get 2 more runs in, so it's 3-0 Braves. And then after Marcell Ozuna strikes out looking again, which he's done that a lot. I had the stat on social media during the game. I'm trying to find it real quick. But I want to say he's 4th in Major League Baseball this year in strikeouts looking. He has 49 different times he's had an 0-2 count and took a called strike. James Wood, O'Neal Cruz, Ellie De La Cruz are the only ones who have done it more than Marcell Ozuna. And again, I said this on, I think it was yesterday's Postcast. You're a designated hitter, not a designated walker. Especially when it's a 2-2 count. You can't even walk if you take that. You got to go ahead and swing the bat. But the inning ends, and I want to get your thought. Those of you who are here live on YouTube, I want to get your thoughts on this. The inning ends on a attempted double steal. And this is a thing I've really paid a lot of attention to how teams do these. This was the runner on first, runner on third. In this case, Michael Harris on first, Ozzie on third. Harris goes to steal second. And the moment that JT Realmuto throws down to second base, Ozzie breaks for the plate. Bryson Stott abandons trying to tag Michael Harris. He jumps out in front of the bag, catches the ball, makes a feed right back to home. They tag Ozzie, and he's called out. Atlanta does not review the play. And the Phillies broadcast thought they were going to, right? I thought originally when I saw it that Ozzie was out. I thought on the replay that Ozzie was safe. And I know that this is, Atlanta went on to lose this game by 15 runs. But at the time, you had the ability to really get Aaron Nola even more off his game. He really struggled early. Clearly, when you gave up 6 home runs, you're not going to win the game no matter what. But I thought it was interesting because this is a level of aggressiveness in base running that we really haven't seen Atlanta do this year. And that play, there's a couple ways for the team who's pitching on defense to control, to defend that play. You can fake a throw to second, concede the run, hoping the runner on third commits. Not what they did. You can throw down to second base and try to get the guy there. Because if you tag Michael Harris out, the inning's over. There was 2 outs. The inning's over. Or you can do what they did. Bryson Stott jumps in front of the second base bag, fields the ball coming home, perfect throw. They get the tag. Again, level of aggressiveness I don't think we've seen from Atlanta on the base paths recently. I know that Nacho Alvarez has not been great recently, But I like the idea of, hey, we are aware that we're not hitting for power like we used to. We're not popping all these home runs. We need to do some things to manufacture runs. So I think at the end of the day, I'm okay with them being aggressive. I hate the fact you run into the third out on the base paths, but I like the fact that you were aggressive. Now, ultimately, would the game have gone differently had you scored there, kept things alive, right? And just continue to push Aaron Nola and tag Aaron Nola for more and more runs? It's possible. But at the end of the day, it wouldn't have mattered because you gave up a ton of home runs and you lost 19-4. From that point on, Atlanta only had 3 other hits the whole rest of the game. Matt Olson gets a home run. He's had multiple home runs this week, which is fantastic because he's been incredibly cold from a power perspective up until this little stretch right here. I mean, the month of August, he has 3 home runs, 2 of them in the last 2 days. So, I mean, Matt Olson's not been your prototypical power hitting first baseman. He's slugging on the year. I mean, it's kind of frustrating, but we're seeing a little bit of that power stroke is there for him right now. And he's leading the league in doubles, obviously. So I feel like if you had been able to keep scoring and run the first inning a little deeper, maybe you have a little more fight later in this game. Because again, they scored 5 runs in the first, but if you can put up 4 or 5 runs, the game's tied. The game's not, you're not down by 2. They scored 1 run in the third. Their big inning was the 4th, and the offense had already kind of shut down by then, right? The offense had already stopped doing stuff by then because they were down by 2 or 3 runs. Had you kept it close, maybe the offense is able to keep going. So just really frustrating. But again, pitching performances like this, it doesn't matter. You know, Atlanta would have had to score 20 runs, and I don't think they had that in them this year. So kind of frustrating. What's also frustrating is you have to rebound from this with Bryce Elder taking on Ranger Suarez. So Bryce Elder, 6.12 ERA against Ranger Suarez, 10-6 with a 3.07 ERA. That game's at 6:45. It is on Apple TV Plus. So if you're not a subscriber to that, it's going to be a little frustrating to attempt to watch it. You can always listen to it on Braves Radio Network. If you're watching on Apple TV, remember that this is one of those games you have the ability to turn on Ben Ingram through Apple TV. It'll automatically sync the audio from Ben with the video, the pitches. Everything's going to be synced up already. You don't have to manually do that. We'll be back tomorrow to break that game down. Both me and Jake Mastriani, I just got a text. He has landed. He's back in the United States. He will be back on the show tomorrow night. In the meantime, do us a favor. If you're listening on audio, leave a 5-star review, Apple, Spotify, or if you get your podcasts. If you're watching on YouTube, subscribe to both Locked On Braves and Locked On Sports Atlanta. Hit the notification bell so you know when we go live to talk about Braves games, when Locked On Sports Atlanta has Falcons content, college football content, whatever it might be. Until next time, this has been the Braves Postcast.